Hello everyone, my name is Pretty Favor Alizi. I'm an ethical hacker at Olutu Square. So today I'll be taking you on a class which is titled the network interface. A network interface is the point of interconnection between a computer and a private or public network. So now let's get started. We'll be using our Ubuntu Linux, and then we'll be using an app called the Terminal. Go to your menu, then click on your terminal. Okay, and here it is. So I'm going to make this big so everyone can actually see it better. Okay, so tools on Linux that shows you all network interfaces. These are what we're going to be focusing on first. On Linux, we use the ifconfig, and on Windows, it's called the ipconfig. So because we are using Linux today, we'll be doing the ifconfig, okay, and hit the enter. Okay, this is an overview of all the networks, of all our network interfaces on this network. You can see I'm connected to the internet here. Okay, and the next thing we'll be doing now is the DNS. DNS simply means domain name system. This simply means to look out for IP addresses and host names. So the tools we're going to be using to look out for IP addresses and host names, there are three tools we'll be making use of today. One is called the dig, second is called the whois, and the third one is called the host. Mind you, our host name is going to be Olotu Square, www.olotusquare.co. So let's get started. Dig www.olotusquare, okay, olotusquare.co. Alright, hit the enter, and here. Okay, so you can see these are the two IP addresses that are connected to Olotu Square. So we've been able to get some information about Olotu Square. These are the two IP addresses connected. And the next tool we'll be looking at now is called the whois. Whois, that's supposed to be just 3.olotusquare.co. olotusquare.co. Click the enter, and here, okay, so it's saying no data found because this is a security policy on the Olotu Square website. For security reasons, they don't really have to really expose their potential personal data. Okay, so next tool I said we'll be using is called the host. So hosts www.olotusquare.co. Okay, this will actually give us a precise information like about the IP addresses for Olotu Square. Okay, sorry, there's a little delay because of my network, but it's resolved right away. So let's continue. So here, perfect. It's giving us the same IP addresses it also gave us here on when we use dig. Okay, so the basic idea here is to show us all of the root servers on Olotu Square. So now we'll be using, since the whois didn't really go through, let's see another tool called the NSLOOKUP. NSLOOKUP, www.olotusquare.co. Enter, and perfect. Okay, so if you take notice, 1, 2, 3, 4, the 4 IP addresses here are the same 4 IP addresses here given to us. So that's enough for the lookout for IP addresses and host names. Next thing we'll be doing now is basic troubleshooting. And for basic troubleshooting, we'll be using tools called the ping tool and the traceroute tool. So, but to use the ping tool, we'd have to use the IP address, that is ping space. Would come here, Olotu Square's IP, would copy it, and then would come down here and would paste it and click the enter. So these are replies. The aim of this is actually to know if the system is responsive when you get replies and echoes from them. So as we're getting replies, these are called replies and echoes. This will tell you that the site is up, it's responsive, and it's doing well. Okay, so we're not going to interrupt this. We're going to leave this and move on to another tab. Okay, and then like I said, we'll be using the traceroutes. This is the second tool for basic troubleshooting. trace route would also use an IP. Okay, and this is it. Okay, so the idea for trace route IP address is for tracing routes of packets to the network. Okay, so now this is okay. I'm going to explain all of this. Number 3, we're having asterisks instead of having some write-ups like the others. So this is because there's a firewall that has blocked and bounced our request back on that line. So it's telling us that there are 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 hops to the network. So it's not like you have to go through this before you actually get to the network. And then on the third one, there's a firewall there. That's the security. Okay? So the next thing we'll be looking at now is informational utilities. And for informational utilities, we'll be looking at the netstats, we'll be looking at the ifconfig again, the route, and the ARP. ARP simply means Address Resolution Protocol. A MAC address is the address attached to the network interface. ARP is the protocol that matches your IP address to a MAC address. Okay, so now you need the MAC address in order to communicate with devices on your local network. The route tool actually shows you routing table. Okay, to see all the networks, all the systems our system is talking to locally, would have to use the netstats. Okay, so now let's get started. We'll first try ARP hyphen A. Okay. Oh, okay. First tool we'll be using, it's called we're supposed to use the netstats, netstats, ifconfig, route, and ARP. We'll first start with the netstats. So to use this, we'll start with netstats. It's not normal stats. Netstats space hyphen AN space, and we're supposed to use this tool. Okay, yes, and then we're to use the next thing called this. This is to see ports and connections listening to our system. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, these are the protocols: TCP, receiving requests, sending requests. These are the local addresses listening to our system, connections listening to our system. And these are the foreign addresses, and these are the states. So you can see my system currently is listening. This is where a connection was established. Time wait due to network established. Time wait due to network established. Time wait and it's listening again. Established. Okay. So the next tool I said we'll be using is called the routes. Okay. To use the routes, okay. I think it's still listening more. It's still having more communications. So we're going to let this be. We don't need to interrupt that part. Okay, the next tool we'll be looking at right away is called the routes. So this goes by ROUTE. Okay, so Kenya IP routing table. This is the destination. This is our gateways, our genmask, our flags, metric, ref, use interface. So this is actually showing us our routing table. And the next tool we're supposed to be using is called the ARP. Okay, we're supposed to use the ifconfig, but I already shown that earlier on the video. So the next tool we're supposed to be using now is called ARP hyphen A. Okay, ARP hyphen A. Okay, ARP space hyphen A. Okay, so while we wait for this to come on, there's a little delay. Okay, so it's telling us. Okay, so you can see this is our MAC addresses. This is our IP addresses. So this is the communication between our MAC address and other devices on our local network. That's on the network I'm currently connected to. Okay, so the next thing we'll be looking at is the packet captures to see what's going on in our network. Like, we want to see all systems our system is talking with, all the network traffics on our local network. So we'll be going with the sudo tcp dump. Yes. So guess what? We're going to be prompted for our password because remember, sudo simply means super user. It's a command, and then when you use your sudo command, it always prompts for password to really know if you're the one, if you're really the owner, or you're really the user, in the sense that it wants you to impute a password because that's something private between you and your system. Remember, your password is supposed to be private at all times. So we'll be doing this. Okay. So you can see TCP Fabado's output suppressed. Okay, this is so much, but we're going to go through them in bits. Okay, come on. Okay, first, let's go to the origin. Okay, to here. So you can see IP Snapstore content cache, O2 HQ, Snapstore content cache, Snapstore content cache. So this is basically showing us what's going on in our network, like everything happening in our network, applications using the network alongside. Okay, and this is all about the network traffics on our local network. So you can see there are lots and lots of traffics. A whole lot is going on in the network at the back end. So this is all. You could take your time later to go through all and make sure you understand. If you still have questions, you can always ask your questions. Okay, and then the last but not the least we'll be doing is the IP tables. IP tables are built-in firewalls that comes in with Linux. They are built-in firewalls that comes in with Linux. So to see the firewalls that comes with Linux on our system, we would simply use the sudo IP tables hyphen capital L. Okay, so there's supposed to be a space just after IP tables. Okay, and a space again, then hyphen small v. It's case sensitive, so you really have to be careful. Okay, yeah. So these are the firewalls that comes along with Linux on this particular system. If you look here, you see the chain inputs. The policy accepts 0 packets and 0 bytes. The chain forward policy drops 0 packets and 0 bytes. Chain outputs policy accepts 0 packets and 0 bytes. Chain Docker, just 3 references. Chain Docker isolation stage 1, just 1 references. And chain Docker isolation stage 2, just 3 references. And you can see it stated out here. 0 packets, 0 bytes. Targets, drop, return. Protocols, all, in, any. Okay, and then we have the last chain Docker user having just 1 references. Okay, so I think this is all for today. We'll look on to our next video. Thank you.